In the grand story of the American Revolution, we all know the names Washington, Franklin, and Jefferson. But behind the victories, behind the survival of a nearly broken army, there was another name. One that rarely gets the spotlight, Nathanael Greene. A self-taught soldier, a man once rejected from militia service for having a limp, who rose to become George Washington's most brilliant general. This is the untold story of how Nathanael Greene, the fighting Quaker, saved the American Revolution when all hope seemed lost. Nathanael Greene was born in 1742 in Rhode Island into a strict Quaker family, a community known for peace and simplicity. But Greene was restless. He loved books, ideas, and debates. More than anything, he was fascinated by the art of war. While other young men worked the fields, Greene was devouring military manuals, studying strategy, and reading about Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great. When the colonies began to rebel against British rule, Greene's pacifist upbringing clashed with his growing sense of duty. He believed liberty was worth fighting for, even if it meant defying the pacifist beliefs of his community. And so, when war came in 1775, Greene joined the militia. He was mocked at first, a bookish, limping Quaker with no experience. But what no one realized was that Greene was about to become one of the most brilliant minds of the war. When the Continental Army formed, George Washington quickly noticed something in the young Rhode Island officer. Intelligence, discipline, and an unshakable calm under pressure, Washington promoted him rapidly. Soon, Greene was commanding troops in the thick of the war, at Boston, New York, and Trenton. At the disastrous Battle of Long Island, where American forces were surrounded, Greene's strategic thinking helped Washington's army escape annihilation. He wasn't loud or proud, but he was decisive, analytical, and loyal. Washington came to trust Greene more than almost anyone else. In 1778, Greene faced one of his toughest challenges, not on the battlefield, but in supply. Washington's army was starving, freezing, and running out of everything, so Greene accepted a role few wanted, Quartermaster General. And miraculously, he did it. Within months, Greene organized supply chains, secured food, and rebuilt the logistics system that kept the army alive through brutal winters. He turned chaos into order, and once again saved the revolution from collapse. But Greene's greatest test came in 1780. After the fall of Charleston and a string of crushing defeats, the South seemed lost. Washington turned to one man he could trust. Nathanael Greene took command of the Southern Army, tired, starving, outnumbered, and poorly armed. Against Britain's most ruthless commander, Lord Cornwallis, Greene faced nearly impossible odds, and yet he didn't fight to win. He fought to wear the enemy down. He divided his forces, striking quickly, retreating skillfully, and forcing the British to chase him across miles of wilderness. At battles like Cowpens and Guilford Courthouse, his strategy worked brilliantly. Though technically defeated, Greene inflicted heavy losses, so heavy that Cornwallis's army was slowly bleeding out. His famous words summed up his philosophy perfectly. "We fight, get beat, rise, and fight again." And in time, that relentless persistence drove the British north, straight into the trap at Yorktown. After the war, Nathanael Greene returned home to a nation finally free. But he didn't seek fame or fortune. He was offered land in gratitude for his service and settled in Georgia, where he lived quietly with his family. Tragically, he died young, just 43 years old, before he could see how deeply his work shaped the country he helped create. But among his fellow generals, his legacy endured. George Washington once said of him, "Greene is as dangerous as Washington himself." That was no small praise. It was a recognition that without Greene's brilliance, the revolution might never have survived. Today, his name isn't as famous as Washington or Lafayette, but his genius lives on in every story of resilience and strategy. Nathanael Greene was more than just a general. He was the mind that turned defeat into survival, and survival into victory. A true architect of American freedom, the forgotten hero of the Revolution.